Welcome to the Fine Arts at Oxford 2019 podcast. I'm art lover Muffin Whitney, and recently I had the opportunity to talk by phone with this year's featured artist, Christopher Best of Crownsville, Maryland. Full disclosure, I own 3 of Christopher's works, as well as works by other artists exhibiting this year. Even on a very limited budget like mine, you too can find the perfect piece of art to take home and love. Make sure you stay tuned after I talk with Christopher to hear how you can be part of this exciting event and to hear all about the new happenings that are part of this year's Fine Arts at Oxford, which has been a premier art event on the Eastern Shore for the past 35 years. Chris, congratulations on being the featured artist at Fine Arts at Oxford this year. It is quite an honor to not only be juried into the event to begin with, but also to be chosen as the featured artist with the featured work, especially for your first time actually showing there. You do have a long and impressive list of honors over the years. Were you surprised by this one?
So yeah, I was definitely caught off guard by that, yeah. And I think part of it could just be that piece is a little bit different than what I normally do, but I'm just glad that it was accepted with excitement. So it seems like they're really excited about it.
Your featured work, 10 Kids, is such a charming and at the same time demanding piece. I remember the first time I saw it in your studio. I loved the grouping of the boats, the way you painted them, that they just seemed so happy to be all together in a safe harbor. And then, after you see the boats, you see the kids. 10 kids. But according to you, not everybody sees all 10 kids at first glance. Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I did. I feel like that piece, it's kind of a piece that kind of reminiscent of like my time as a kid growing up on the bay, and I wanted people to get that in the feeling of the piece. But I think just putting the kids, kind of hiding them and kind of making you look for them, just helping to hold the attention even longer and really, not just walk right by it, but kind of drink in that feeling that I had when I made it, which was just kind of long summer days with nothing to do but sit around and mess around on boats.
Sitting around and messing on boats is a very good thing. You do have some works such as Prickly Party, Tea Time, and Deer Skull that are not outdoor scenes, but most of your work is of things that you see and paint while you are outdoors standing right there. You have been referred to as a plein air painter. Is that how you would describe yourself?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that the word plein air has become kind of a buzzword, which is good in its own right. It gets people excited about. They learn a new word, plein air. But I think that artists have been painting outdoors for a long time and drawing inspiration from the outdoors. I think that probably feel a little bit more comfortable with the term landscape painter, even though I do marine scenes as well. I think that just seems to fit a little bit better.
You've said that painting outdoors with your subject has allowed you to learn the language of the outdoors. And you've also said that being there near where your subject is allows you to use your brain and vision to choose the aspects of what to paint from what you see. How have these two things, the language and the selection, evolved over the years?
I've just become better at kind of reading the landscape in the sense that I can understand a little bit better about what it is that I'm finding interesting. I think when you first start painting, you get so overwhelmed and excited and everything's so new, and then hopefully as you progress, you get a little bit better about deciphering what it is that you find interesting about a particular scene and then being able to communicate that clearly in a way that will reach people. So hopefully I'm getting better at and evolving in the way of understanding what it is about the scene that's in front of me that I really find moving.
What was the first creative thing that you remember doing?
The first creative thing I remember doing was probably building little houses out of sticks outside, just getting little sticks and trying to find ones that would be fitted for building purposes and making little houses out of them. I used to do that a fair amount when I was a kid, I think.
And how did that lead you to drawing and painting?
It's a good question. I think there's a bit of, the intuitive process of trying to make something work. Kind of dealing with what you've been given. You can find some sticks or something and you want to make something out of it, or you go out to look at the landscape or whatever and you see something that you want to make something out of. So I think it's a bit of discovery as well as, the creativity that goes along with that.
When did you first know that you were an artist? When did that realization first hit you? Oh, I'm an artist.
I think it was probably in high school. Definitely probably about, I would say about the end of 10th grade. I kind of realized that's just the way that my mind worked, and that instead of fighting it, I could actually use it for, my advantage or for good.
So after you knew you were an artist, what makes you paint and draw and keep being artistic? Why do you do this?
I think it's just hardwired into me in terms of, I look at, from my own worldview of creation, and I see that I've created. I have it hardwired in me to respond to my environment in this way. I think that's just a part of who I am.
But day to day, there has to be something that keeps you going day to day.
I think I just want to see something new. I want to see something in a new way. And I think that's kind of what growth in life is about. Seeing something new, seeing and understanding yourself and your environment from a greater perspective. So I think it's just the idea of growing that gets me up and gets me out on a day-to-day.
Fortunately, you're not on this journey alone. Your wife, Karen, is also very, very creative. Not in the same artistic realm as you, though.
That's right. She's a silversmith and a jewelry designer. We have a lot of really good conversations about how we can help each other get over problems or humps that we might be struggling with, or share our victories with each other, and we understand what it's like to achieve a goal. She's my best critic. She looks at all my work before I send it out and gives me really honest, good feedback, which is what I really value that highly.
And she has the same attitude toward involving nature in her work. She works in silver and she works in stone. They all are reflective of her feel for nature, just like your artwork is reflective of your feel for nature.
That's right. That's definitely something that we have in common, and I think that, that understanding that we value that and that we find, our place in that is something that, we can always go back to and encourage each other to grow in.
When I first discovered your work at South Street Gallery in Easton, I was able to pick out all of your paintings in the gallery because of your palette and your brushwork. But then there are other paintings that I've seen since where the palette is of a totally different tone, using more blues, lighter colors, and where the brush strokes aren't quite as forceful. What determines your palette and brushwork for a piece?
Yeah, well, that's something I think I've been growing a little bit in lately and thinking more about it. I think it comes back to understanding and reading the landscape, like what we were discussing earlier, where certain things are going to be suited better for big, blocky confidence. I think every brush stroke should be confident, but rocks, you're not going to paint rocks the same way that you're going to paint clouds. Clouds are soft and wispy and kind of delicate generally, and like water is moving, and it's not the same thing that rocks are made of. So I think you have to adjust your brushwork for the nature of the subject matter that you're dealing with, to a degree, and so I think that plays a large part into it, rather than just handling everything as if it was made of rocks. And also, as far as color goes, I think some of that is just broadening your tools, painting with warm yellows and cool yellows rather than just one yellow. And also a little bit of experimentation with, I saw this thing outside today and I'm not sure how I'm going to make it. Experimenting with different keys, I guess you could say, trying to get a better feel for what's actually happening.
We've talked about your paintings, but you also have drawings in your portfolio, and I love your drawings because they make me see things that I might not have seen in one of your paintings. How much do you draw these days, and what determines if something will be a drawing or a painting?
Well, I've heard that it's said that drawing is preparation for paintings. I think there's a lot of truth in that, or at least in my practice, I generally treat drawing kind of like a blueprint, or to work out ideas and generally hopefully turn it into a painting. But as far as drawing for the sake of drawing goes, I treat it more like a time to study, and a time to develop ideas, or maybe do something that I don't want to commit a canvas to, and I just want to try and draw something that I would never attempt to paint right off the bat. Or if it's working for my imagination more, I'll definitely do some drawings first. So I tend to view it more as preparation for painting, or like a way to work out ideas. But occasionally there will be something that I'm just really happy with as a drawing and won't feel the need to make it anything else.
I I know that you'll have a delightful 3 days at Fine Arts at Oxford, and people are going to love meeting you and seeing your work. When this event is over, where can people find your work?
I'm at the McBride Gallery in downtown Annapolis, and also currently over at the South Street Gallery in Easton. Those are the two main galleries at the point. I also have a website, which I show paintings through as well.
Give us the URL for your website.
Sure, it's ChristopherBestFineArt.com.
Thank you very, very much. It was delightful talking with you as always, and I will see you at Fine Arts at Oxford.
Yes, the privilege is mine. Thank you.
Make sure to put this year's Fine Arts at Oxford on your calendar. The event begins on Friday, May 17th with the preview party and continues through the weekend with Saturday and Sunday's exhibits. And there are some fun new events that Liza Ledford, the Oxford Community Center's executive director, told me about recently. First of all, award-winning chef Andrew, owner of the barbecue joint in Easton, will bring his yummy barbecue to Fine Arts at Oxford for the new Barbecue Happy Hour on Saturday evening from 4 to 6 p.m. Tickets to this event are $25 per person, and if you've attended the Fine Arts event on Saturday, you can trade in that ticket for a discount on the barbecue ticket. There will be a cash bar featuring wine, beer, and cocktails. Also new this year are some very interesting demonstrations featuring ceramic processes, children's book illustrating, wire glass and metal sculpture, and how to integrate wine and beer spills into magical designs. Demonstrations will be scheduled at various times throughout the weekend, so look for the schedule at www.oxfordcc.org. Liza also wanted you all to know that there's been increased support this year from the Maryland State Tourism Office and from the Talbot County Department of Economic Development and Tourism. There also has been a significant increase in the number of award-winning and nationally known artists this year. Jody Ware continues in her role as chairman of Fine Arts at Oxford, and the Oxford Community Center's board welcomes its new president, Bonnie Richards, and its new vice president, Susan Wheeler. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who is just discovering the joy of art, I highly recommend coming to Fine Arts at Oxford. Fine Arts at Oxford is held at the Oxford Community Center, 200 Oxford Road in Oxford, on Maryland's enchanting eastern shore. For more information on ticket prices, times, artists, and exhibits, go to the Oxford Community Center's website at oxfordcc.org. This is Muffin Whitney for the Fine Arts at Oxford podcast, and I'll see you May 17th through the 19th at the Oxford Community Center for the 35th anniversary edition of Fine Arts at Oxford.